Every single day, a silent, invisible army crosses our oceans. An army of over 50,000 metal giants, carrying the very lifeblood of our modern world. The food you eat, the clothes you wear, the phone you hold virtually, everything you own, spent a journey on this hidden highway. But this isn't a free-for-all. Control of these global shipping routes is the ultimate geopolitical prize, a source of unimaginable wealth and leverage. And right now, a handful of nations hold the keys to this kingdom, commanding choke points that can strangle entire economies with the flick of a switch. This is the story of the top 10 countries that control the world's shipping routes, and the secret battle being waged for the future of global trade. In the next 25 minutes, we will map the hidden geography of global power. We will reveal the one tiny nation you've never heard of that operates a secret shipping empire larger than the United States and China combined. We will expose the single most dangerous shipping lane on Earth, a narrow passage where a single accident could trigger a global economic meltdown. And we will show you how China is building a string of pearls across the Indian Ocean, not with warships, but with commercial ports. In a quiet campaign to dominate the world, the fate of the global economy doesn't rest in stock markets. It rests on the control of these 10 critical nations. To understand why these countries are so powerful, you must first understand the scale of this system. Over 90% of everything traded in the world, every barrel of oil, every container of consumer goods, every ton of grain travels by sea. This isn't just commerce. It is the central nervous system of globalization. These shipping routes are the fragile arteries through which the economy's blood must flow. A delay of just a few days in one part of the world can empty supermarket shelves and shut down factories on the other side of the planet. We saw this during the COVID pandemic and the ever-given blockage in the Suez Canal. The entire modern world operates on a just-in-time delivery system, a house of cards built on the assumption that these sea lanes will always be open. And the nations that sit astride the most critical of these lanes don't just facilitate trade. They hold a veto over it. They are the gatekeepers of global prosperity. Kicking off our list at number 10 is a nation that proves size means nothing in the world of maritime power, the tiny city-state of Singapore. What it lacks in land, it makes up for in sheer strategic genius. Singapore sits at the tip of the Malay Peninsula, guarding the southern entrance to the Strait of Malacca, the busiest shipping lane in the entire world. Nearly one-third of all global maritime trade and almost all the oil traveling from the Middle East to East Asia must pass through this narrow strait, and Singapore controls it. But Singapore's power isn't just about location. It's about infrastructure and trust. It is the world's busiest port for container trade, a massive sorting facility for global trade where goods are moved from giant vessels to smaller ones. It is a global hub for ship financing, insurance, and law. Singapore isn't just a gatekeeper. It is the brain and the bank of the entire global shipping industry, a titan disguised as a minnow. At number 9, we have the United Arab Emirates, and specifically the Emirate of Dubai. The UAE's power stems from its command of the entrance to the Persian Gulf, one of the most energy-rich patches of water on the planet. The Strait of Hormuz, just off the UAE's coast, is the world's most important oil choke point. Through this narrow passage, about 21 million barrels of oil flow every single day. Ports like Jebel Ali and Dubai are not just ports. They are colossal logistics and free trade hubs that serve the entire region and beyond. Jebel Ali is the busiest port in the Middle East, a vital node for goods entering and leaving not just the UAE, but landlocked nations across the region. The UAE has used its oil wealth to build a post-oil economy centered on trade, logistics, and air travel, making itself the indispensable commercial gateway between East and West. Control the gateway to the Gulf, and you control the tap for the world's most vital resource. Coming in at number 8 is a nation that sits at the crossroads of continents, Turkey. Its power is derived from a single, infamous waterway, the Turkish Straits, comprising the Bosporus and the Dardanelles. This is the only maritime passage between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. For Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, and Romania, this is their only warm water access to the world's oceans. Every ship, every tanker carrying Ukrainian grain or Russian oil must ask Turkey for permission to pass. This gives Turkey immense geopolitical leverage, as we saw vividly during the Ukraine war, where it played a key role in the grain deal negotiations. The straits are narrow, winding, and incredibly difficult to navigate, making them a natural choke point. Turkey doesn't just control a trade route, it controls the naval destiny of an entire region, holding the key to the Black Sea and, by extension, a significant lever over Russia's economic and military ambitions. At number 7, we travel to the heart of Europe, to the Netherlands. While it may not command a narrow strait, its power comes from being the continent's premier logistics hub. The port of Rotterdam is the largest seaport in all of Europe. It is a massive, automated, and breathtakingly efficient machine that serves as the primary entry point for goods into the European continent's 450 million person consumer market. Goods arriving here are distributed by truck, train, and barge across Germany, France, and deep into Central Europe. The Netherlands' control isn't over a choke point, but over a funnel. It is the gateway to the world's largest trading bloc. Furthermore, the Dutch are global leaders in engineering and dredging, with companies that literally build and maintain the world's ports, from Dubai to Panama. The Netherlands doesn't just control a port, it controls the very technology that makes modern shipping possible, making it a quiet but critical architect of global maritime trade. Now we arrive at a different kind of power. Not control of a route, but control of the very vessels that sail them. At number 6 is South Korea. Along with its neighbor Japan, South Korea is a shipbuilding superpower. For decades, it has been locked in a fierce battle for the top spot in global shipbuilding, particularly for the most advanced and largest vessels, LNG carriers, massive container ships, and sophisticated drilling rigs. The ability to build the world's fleet is a form of immense structural power. It dictates the pace at which global trade can expand. It creates a deep, symbiotic relationship between Korean industry and global shipping giants. When a nation controls the production of the world's merchant marine, it holds a foundational piece of the entire system. Without these shipyards, the global fleet would age and shrink, and trade would slowly grind to a halt. South Korea's shipyards are the factories where the very backbone of globalization is forged. We've seen the gatekeepers of strategic straits and the builders of the global fleet. But now, we enter the big leagues. The next 5 nations on our list don't just control a single route or resource. They command entire oceans, operate shadow empires, and are actively fighting a cold war for the future of maritime dominance. The stakes are about to get much, much higher. At number 5, we find the quietest giant in the room, Greece. Despite its small economy, Greece is the undeniable owner of the world's largest merchant fleet. Greek shipowners control over 20% of the entire world's tonnage. This is a hidden empire, often family-owned, that operates a vast armada of tankers, bulk carriers, and container ships that fly flags from all over the world. Their power is not territorial, but financial and logistical. They are the landlords of the sea. When you need to move oil from the Gulf to Europe, or grain from Brazil to China, there is a very high chance you will be hiring a Greek-owned vessel. This gives Greece immense influence behind the scenes. They set rates, they choose clients, and their decisions determine the flow of vital commodities. They survived pirates, they survived market crashes, and they have built a dynasty on the waves that is more powerful than most navies. At number 4, we have Egypt, and its power comes from a single, man-made river, the Suez Canal. Dug in the 19th century, the Suez Canal is the shortcut that made the modern world possible. It connects the Mediterranean to the Red Sea, slashing the journey from Europe to Asia by thousands of miles in over a week of travel time. About 12% of global trade, $1 trillion worth of goods, passes through this ditch in the sand every year. We all saw what happened in 2021 when the Ever Given container ship blocked it for just 6 days. Global trade was thrown into chaos, costing the world an estimated $10 billion per day. Egypt doesn't just collect tolls, it holds a scalpel to the jugular of Eurasian trade. The revenue from the canal is a lifeline for the Egyptian economy, but its strategic value is a weapon of immense geopolitical influence. Any nation that can threaten or secure the Suez Canal holds the world's economy hostage. Breaking into the top 3 is the United States. America's power is unique. It doesn't control the most ships or the most canals. Its power is projective and military. The United States Navy is the ultimate guarantor of global maritime freedom. For decades, it has been the global police force on the high seas, keeping choke points like the Strait of Hormuz and the South China Sea open for all to use. It fights piracy, deters aggression, and ensures the common rules of the road are followed. This role, as the global sheriff, provides the United States with unparalleled influence. It can project power to any coast in the world, and, if it chooses, it can blockade any nation on Earth. Furthermore, the U.S. controls 2 other critical man-made passages, the Panama Canal, which connects the Atlantic and Pacific, giving it huge influence over trade in the Americas, and, through its territory. The Port of Los Angeles, Long Beach, the primary gateway for Asian goods entering the U.S. market. America's power is the power of enforcement. At number 2, we have the ultimate challenger, the People's Republic of China. China's power is total and multifaceted. It is the world's factory, meaning it is the origin or destination for a massive portion of global shipping. It owns the world's largest commercial shipping fleet by number of vessels. It is a dominant force in global shipbuilding, rivaling South Korea, but its most ambitious project is its string of pearls strategy. China is investing billions in building or controlling ports around the world in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Africa. These are not just commercial ventures, they are potential future naval bases, allowing China to project power and protect its sea lines of communication all the way to the Middle East. China is not content to just use the sea lanes. It is building a network to own and control them, challenging the very US-led order that has guaranteed their freedom for decades. The dragon is not just sailing the seas, it is trying to fence them in. And now, for number 1. The most powerful country controlling world shipping routes is none of the above. The true number 1 is a flag, not a nation. It is the flag of convenience. The top spot belongs to Panama, Liberia, and the Marshall Islands. These are the 3 largest ship registries in the world. Why is this the ultimate power? Because they have created a shadow legal system on the high seas. Over half the world's merchant fleet flies the flag of a country other than its owner, seeking lower taxes, weaker regulations, and freedom from powerful unions. This system, while controversial, is the grease that makes the global shipping machine run. It lowers costs across the board. The power of these registries is the power of the loophole. They dictate global maritime law, labor standards, and environmental regulations by offering a more permissive alternative. They are the ultimate facilitators, and without this system, the cost of everything you buy would skyrocket. They are the invisible, unaccountable kings of the ocean. So, there you have it. From the strategic choke points of Singapore and Egypt, to the shipyards of South Korea, the hidden empire of Greece, the military might of America, the ambitious strategy of China, and the legal havens of Panama. Control of world shipping is not a single lever of power, but a complex web of geography, industry, finance, and military might. The battle for the future is being fought on these blue highways. Will it be a future of open seas, guaranteed by American power, or a networked ocean controlled by Chinese influence? The answer will be determined by who best masters the intricate game of controlling these 10 critical players. The fate of globalization, and the price of everything in your home, depends on the outcome of this silent war.